Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite Ravens YouTube channel and podcast, Talking Ravens all day, every day, with your host, Justin P., and my MVP, billion-dollar co-host, Miss Shannon Finch. This is episode 158 for the YouTube version, for the audio version, season 2, episode 53. The links to the audio version is right there below in the description. Underneath that is myself, Shannon, and Dave's social media platforms. He can't make it tonight. You know, you're there making that money.
Mhm.
Uh, I have everything, including Threads, Shannon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it. David,
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff like that. Today we're gonna just do one. Like we're gonna do one show until we get into the preseason because it's really not a whole lot of going on. So we'll just see us on Thursday. Just a heads up. So, Miss Shannon combined our topics together, give y'all a pretty good show. So, topic number one, thoughts on the linebackers that left in free agency and the linebackers that were signed.
Um, as far as who left, I don't really feel any way about it. I wish Malik Harrison didn't go to the Steelers.
Yeah.
But I feel like maybe us as fans care more about rivals than the players do. They're gonna go wherever they check it, and that's probably what he did. I can't knock him for that. Other than that, I don't think that it's a bad thing. Like I don't, how, like when certain guys leave, you be like, dang, that's gonna, be a hole. We're gonna miss them. Though I feel like, especially last year when we needed them in rotation because the defense was struggling, they all stepped up and did what they had to do. But you know, you were where you were in the depth chart for a reason before then. Malik Harrison I always liked, but after his situation getting shot, I think that kind of hurt him and his development. Don't think anybody's going to go to any of their new teams and not be able to contribute or be good. But I'm not I don't I'm not going to miss them if you get what I'm saying, but not in a negative way. Like it's cool. Um, as far as who we brought in, as far as who I know, and you could tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know how to pronounce the guy that we brought up from the practice squad. I don't know his last name, but I know his first name is William. He was on the practice squad last year, so he's familiar with the defense and what they want to do here. We brought in Jake Hummel,
Yeah,
Jake
humble. Yeah.
Hummel. He's cool. I look at both of those guys more like special teams players, not necessarily somebody we're going to see contribute defensively like that. Unless they're needed, and that we might be in bad shape at that point. But I will say this: I wouldn't mind us bringing C.J. Mosley back.
Yes, Lord.
I feel like he was a Raven. He knows what it takes to play in this division and play for this team. We're not asking him to come in and be the number one guy like we wanted him to be then. And not that he did a bad. I wanted him to stay. Don't get it twisted. I wanted us to re-sign C.J. Mosley. I don't know what happened with that, but it is what it is. But at this stage of his career, I think that it would be good to bring him in and have him next to Roquan. And that doesn't mean that Trenton is no longer a factor. It's just that that could be a healthy competition. May the best man win. But if we get in a situation where it needs to be rotational, like we did last year, I feel like having CJ in that rotation won't hurt us. But I also feel like CJ is great enough, good enough to mimic what how it was with Patrick Queen and Roquan. So that's my idea with the linebacker position. I wouldn't mind that. Bring in CJ and let them battle it out in camp.
Oh, well said, Shannon. I'm basically going to sound like a tape recorder because, like you said, that other kid that I think is William Adiona or something like that. He's okay. Jacob Hummel. These guys more so depth special teams guys. But like you said, bringing CJ Mosley would be great because we basically handed Trenton the job last year. He showed good
Hmm.
spurts, but then as the season go on, he kept getting washed out in the run game, blowing his assignments on coverages and blitzes because he was, like I said, he got handed the job. And not that he
Hmm.
didn't earn it because he played well in preseason, but that healthy competition would definitely be a lot because, like I said, one injury away, then a position can easily just turn into a weakness.
Hmm.
So bringing in a person that definitely has been here for 5 years was a hell of a linebacker, and I could say for most Raven fans, we didn't want him to leave because he was a beast. He was an All Pro, top 100 guy, Pro Bowler guy. Was always in the 100 tackle mark every year. Hell of a
Hmm.
linebacker. Like Ray and all those guys spoke real highly of him. So
Mm-hmm.
bringing him back and like I said, paying him up with Roquan, that'd be great. And then you can sprinkle in Trenton Simpson as whatever is needed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but we can go get Josh Bynes and LJ Fort. We can re-sign CJ Mosley. So and
Definitely.
I'm sure we'll draft somebody. There's guys like Barrett Carter, another Clemson guy. What's the other kid? Cody Martin from Oklahoma State. Cody Simon from Ohio State. Some people even have us taking a Jalon Walker from Georgia at 27 with a kid Jahai Campbell. So those
Mm-hmm.
are the best players available. So I could see a sign, like I said, sign a vet, and then still draft a young guy in later rounds to rebuild that debt we lost with the losses
Mm-hmm.
of Malik Harrison and Chris Board.
I agree.
All right, number two. This had Ravens Nation kind of in a fickle a little bit, but we
It
all,
made no
we
sense.
all, we all, we all, we all finally, put our differences aside, understood the importance of it. So, give me your thoughts on John Harbaugh's 3-year extension.
I know you ain't think. I know you wasn't on the side of you ain't like it, were you?
I was in the middle honestly because I understood it because like I said, you don't want him coaching on the last. I'll say my answer once you go, but
Oh
go ahead.
yeah, okay. I got to hear this.
Yeah,
Um, I think John Harbaugh getting an extension, it makes sense. You speak about the fans, I get it. I understand, how they feel about him. But logically speaking and thinking just take this aside from all the stuff that y'all gonna say about why he shouldn't have got it. Since he signed his last extension, we've been to the AFC Championship. We won
yeah,
a playoff game last year. Like I don't think that it was anything that happened in how us losing to the Bills. I don't think I can point to John Harbaugh and say we lost to the Bills because of this. Like you're the reason why. Like it was so much that happened,
yeah,
and a lot of that goes back into turnovers.
yeah.
I feel like turnovers and lack of turnovers is what has hurt us in the playoffs.
That's true.
Because as you can see, you look at all these other teams with great quarterbacks. At some point, your great quarterback may just have to be a game manager, and you people can say that's not a negative term, but most people don't say that in a positive way. But sometimes you have to be that. So like you can look at Josh Allen's stats and be like, well, he didn't really go off against the Ravens, but he played smart. He didn't turn the ball. You know what I mean? He wasn't costing them. So like all of
Jalen
that.
Hurts damn near the whole playoff run except for the NFC Championship game.
Exactly. So to me, that's the biggest issue when we get into the postseason. It's lack of turnovers and sometimes execution. The team don't quit on him. This team does not quit on him. Even when you're at your lowest and you think guys will be like, I'm like we as fans can complain about everything, and the guys will still speak highly of him. I mentioned the last time we were talking about D Hop. One of the reasons why he wanted to come was because of John Harbaugh. If you have guys on the outside looking in and saying, I want to play for that guy, that's a good thing. Think about it this way, because I know playoffs is going to come up. That's everybody's biggest thing: playoffs, playoffs, playoffs. We almost beat the Bengals with Tyler Huntley. If Tyler Huntley didn't go over the top and fumble the ball, we probably could have won that game.
Yeah,
That was a player's thing. So my point in saying all that is like, yeah, we can talk about John Harbaugh and the things he should do and when he should step in and all of that. I get it. But in reality, this is not 2018. This is not 2 or 3 years of missing a postseason and things like that.
hmm
So how do you not extend him? And a coach of his caliber, you don't have him playing out 1 year of his contract. I mean, coaching 1 year of his contract. When it happened in 2018, I think everybody could have agreed, hey, we get it. But what's happened since 2018, people might want to say Lamar carried him. Lamar saved his job.
yeah,
Well, at the same time, you got to give John Harbaugh credit because who wanted Lamar? Who lobbied for Lamar? Who
yeah,
was trying to put Lamar in early on? Like even with Flacco was quarterback, John Harbaugh was still trying to get Lamar in from day one. Lamar's a quarterback. Marlon Humphrey has said this on his show that John Harbaugh said, "I'm going with this guy. If I'm gonna get fired and I'm going out my way, and I'm going with this guy." And he was talking about Lamar Jackson. So you can't say Lamar saved his job without also crediting John Harbaugh for allowing Lamar to have a job.
for sure.
Because how easy, how safe would it have been to just go back to Joe Flacco when he was able to play, when he was healthy enough to play? He didn't. He could have, but he didn't, and we were winning, and he stuck with what was working. The team is prepared every week. They're prepared in the playoffs. Nobody is perfect, but to me, the extension was well deserved.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely understood it completely. Like I said, when you look at it from a whole entire body of work, hell, like I said, I said everybody says, I see you. He's an exceptional football coach, come from a great football family.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's just his biggest strength, which everybody loves him because he lets he buys in with everybody, let people do their thing, he let people speak their mind. Sometimes can be his biggest weakness, as you just said. Because, like I said, because when the coordinators are not sticking to the game plan offensively or defensively, because we had it in both situations, but lately it's been more offensively, especially particularly in the postseason. This one was a little bit better this time, but it's still in certain situations where he could have went to Todd Monken like, yeah, Bateman just got us to the 2 yard line. If you don't just give the ball to Derrick Henry and the heavy jumbo, if they stop us, then we can ball out here and say we and live with that.
Mm-hmm.
On the
Mm-hmm.
AFC Championship game, why Gus Edwards only had 6 carries? Like, come on, like what's going on here? Or certain stuff when not the challenge, when not the win to challenge. I will give him credit. He is a little gutsy on fourth down, so I can definitely give him credit. Like I said, overall good coach and definitely well deserved. Like I said, you look at his overall record is up there. It's up there. And if you're talking about probably since 2008, it's probably the best, honestly. Belichick not coaching right now, so that would probably be the only person who got more wins and stuff like that than him since 2008.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it definitely is understood because, like I said, it's 3 years. It ain't like it's 10 years. So, like I said, you're right. This team is always competitive under him for the most part when everybody's healthy. And like you said, guys don't quit on him. And like I said, and he don't let people run over top of him. So that's a good thing. My only thing with him is sometimes that doghouse thing he gotta break out of that a little bit more. But other than that, like I said, John is a good coach for the most part. Like I said, he like I said, nobody's perfect. So, but it was the right thing to do because you don't want to go in the last year, your contract, especially for a head coach. And,
I would
and
say one more thing about John Harbaugh because I was saying this on Twitter. I had a conversation about this on Twitter. When you talk about him being carried, like you'll talk about all the Hall of Famers that was here when he first came. And I say this to people, to anybody who says that, show me a greater good coach who didn't have greater good players. I don't understand how you can say that as a knock against John Harbaugh when
touche, touche.
if you look at the resume of every coach that you probably consider great or good, they had a great or good players on their teams.
That's true.
So that shouldn't be a knock against John.
Only reason it's a knock against John, probably because nobody knew who he really was outside of his, being related to Jim Harbaugh. So that could be a thing to play
I
into
mean,
it.
who Phil Jackson was when he became a head coach? You know what I mean? Like everybody works their way up to become a head coach and then you perform. Who knew who Bill Belichick was before he went to Cleveland and flamed out and then went to New England?
Nah,
Like
he was with the Giants first, remember? So
he
everybody
was,
made
but he was a defensive coordinator. But we talking about just because you're a special teams coach. Let me tell you what I heard about a special teams coach, and I'm like, that makes sense. The coach that players should get to know most on the football team is a special teams coach because if you can't get them on the offense or defense because guys are already locked in at their position, what do you think you're going to play?
that's true.
A special teams coach has relationships with offensive players and defensive players. So I'm not going to just poop on a special teams coach because they not drawing up plays. Because how many guys can we point to that draw up plays defensively and offensively who can't be a head coach? They weren't successful being a head coach.
That's true.
So I don't think man special teams coach should be a knock against him or used as well because they were defensive coordinators. No, everybody starts somewhere, work their way up, and he worked his way up, and it is what it is. However many years later, he's been here for what? It's about to be 20 something years. Same.
Yeah, 18 right here.
But yeah, that's all I want to say. I don't know. Like I said, I get it, but I don't because it's not consistent when we talk about all coaches. Like, but we're fans of this team, so that's why I always say fans are finicky. We get emotional. Like we don't look at stuff like other people. And also her ESPN, I didn't watch it. I need to find it. Did a segment on John Harbaugh. I don't know what was said, so I don't know if he got praised or not. But I need to go back and look at that. I think it came out like last week. They had a segment talking about him.
Yeah, like I said, overall exceptional coach. So I'm not all that mad about it. I just would like to see him get at the people's asses a little bit more in the postseason. That's all. All right, our third topic. What do you think will happen with Justin Tucker, and what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen with Justin Tucker? That's an interesting.
Um, this is our first time touching on it, and to be respectful of everybody that's involved, we're going to say he's innocent until proven guilty,
Yeah,
even though he's not criminally charged. Like there's no criminal charges. They're not even any civil charges. Like
yeah,
nothing like that. Not that I've heard of. I haven't heard of. I don't know that Baltimore County or the city is investigating him. I don't know that any of these women are suing him. So it's kind of different. It's kind of difficult to talk about because we really it's nothing like it's not what normally happens in these cases. But what I feel like is going to happen is that Justin Tucker is going to be on this roster in 2025. And the reason why I say that is because when you listen to how the team talks about him, the head coach, the GM, the president, everything is in the league's hands. So they're going to follow the league's lead and what's going on. They're not going to be the ones to suspend him or say, don't come around or release him or whatever. And they may feel like, he's a great player. So we're going to give him some due to let this play out the way it needs to play out. Um, for me, and and this is the woman in me. Like I'm not the type to automatically always side with women because they're women. Like I'm not. I take in fact. Like I listen to what's being said and then I make a decision. Sometimes I agree with women, and sometimes I think they lying. Sometimes when it's a whole lot of people accusing you, I'll be like, somebody might be lying up in there. Like it might be some truth in there, but all of them might not be telling the truth. Like it could be a little bit of that. For me, when I read a note that one of the women wrote talking about her experience, that's creep behavior to me.
yeah.
And it wasn't like she said he, R worded her or anything like that. It was just creepy stuff. And everybody, you can look it up and see what these people are alleging that he did. So for me, I would have liked to seen him released. And this is somebody who's defended Justin Tucker, and I understand everything he's done for the team. And but it used to be jokes like he was the best offensive weapon that we had on our team for a while because everything was predicated on him kicking a field goal to get us points and us winning games.
Yeah.
But when it comes to stuff like this, is real life. I don't like the fact that it seems to be the best kept secret in Baltimore. I don't like the fact that once this became news, you had all of these different people locally saying, well, I've been heard about this. I've been knew about that. I don't like that. Like it's been the city's best kept secret. So for me, I would have liked him to been released. Now at this point, I don't think they can do it like right now because it would just seem crazy. But when all of that stuff came out and started and it was more and more and more piling up, I would have released him. And then by doing that, you wouldn't have had John Harbaugh and Eric DeCosta having to sit in the meetings a month or so ago answering questions about Justin Tucker. You wouldn't have had to have Sashi Brown, what was that, last week, having to answer questions about Justin Tucker. So we're sitting here now still having to talk about Justin Tucker and we don't know what happened.
In the draft,
So
hey,
yeah. So it's like I think he's gonna be on a team because they're saying we're waiting for the league to decide. So whatever the NFL just comes up with, the Ravens are going to follow their lead. But as a woman, as a Ravens fan, I wish he was off the team.
oh man, I, that was well said, and and I hate to pick it back to a situation, and you kind of going on this. So, like I said, we condemn Ray Rice, and he was definitely in the wrong for sure. So we gotta keep the same, principles when it comes to this. If everything upholds. So, I don't know about release right away, but definitely should be on an exempt list, and like and for the time being, like, hey man, till this gets sorted out, it's a distraction. You got zip list. Go talk to Roger, but I know for sure he's getting at least 10 games because Roger just dealt with this with Deshaun. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
he just had a big old situation with that, so he got 13 games. So Justin is at least going to probably face a minimum between 8 to 10. a minimum, because it wouldn't look right if he don't get suspended and Deshaun do. You know how many barriers that will open up on so many levels. It will be nasty.
The only difference is I think Deshaun was initially sued. Isn't that how we found out that he had
I wanna
allegations?
say I wanna say yes. I'll double check, but I wanna
I
say
think
yes.
that's what I mean, because I think that's kind of the difference. And I and I find myself having to defend Justin Tucker in this sense because people say that like they're not people not keeping the same energy, and I'm like I think it's because he's not being criminally or civilly sued, charged or sued. Like it's just people saying I don't want him here anymore. He's banned. He's a creep. And I think that's the difference. So I don't know, man, but I could if it's that, and that's the thing about it, Justin. The draft is coming up, so that's the problem with following the league's lead. Because how do you go? How do you prepare? How do you go into the draft? Are you then going to say, "I'm gonna just find a kicker off the street"? Of course, you could find somebody undrafted. Some of the best kickers will be undrafted, But it's like if I was them, I would want to know what I need. What am I going into this doing? You know what I mean? Like, I think that the reason we drafted the punter when we did a couple of years ago is because they had an idea that Sam might retire. Like it made sense, and then he did end up retiring. But with Justin, this is different because it's not retirement. It's bro, you might not even be available for us. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, yeah, I'm afraid that gonna be too long. But yeah, but so it's definitely gonna be a suspension. Just yeah, of course, everything has they're different little avenues, but it's still in the same realm. You know what I'm saying? So Roger's definitely gonna at the least 8 to 10. Let's show people like, hey, it's not gonna be just you being attached to this stuff is not gonna be tolerated. Because
Hmm.
like I said it's just not a good thing for us with that. You don't be attached to that. All right, on next topic, Ravens sign newly acquired corner Chidobe Awuzie. Give me your thoughts.
Um, I think it's a solid pick. We talked about this in the chat. He played in the AFC North, so he understands how the division works and things like that. Um, I understand that he was injured last year. People might look at it like he's a journeyman because he's on his fourth team at this point. But to me, I feel like it was a great pickup. I mean, we have to replace Stevens. He's gone. Your man is gone.
Ooh, funny.
So I feel like it was a 1 year. Excuse me, it was a 1 year deal, right? So if it doesn't work out, okay, we can let him walk. But I think that they're bringing him in with the idea to compete and possibly replace Stevens. I think they like having Marlon Humphrey playing nickel for whatever reason. So it'll be interesting to see, what they do. But overall, I think it was a solid pickup.
Yeah, I like it too. Like I said, he was a big part why the Bengals got to the Super Bowl. He got that big pass deflection, the big interception. They actually got an interception in the Super Bowl. They played for the
Something
Cowboys
we need.
for a good while. Was solid there. Last year Tennessee did have an interception or two. They got hurt. Like I said, yeah, like we need another veteran corner. Just couldn't go with Marlon, Nate, and TJ Tampa, who we seen very little of, which we all high on because he was a steal in the draft. But he mainly played special teams last year, so we got to actually see him in full action at corner. So I
Hmm.
like it. Like I said, I think this will be better than when we signed Rocky Center in 2023 because we had high
Hmm.
hopes for him, and that was a bit of a dud. That's why Brandon
Hmm.
Stevens even started the field because that signing didn't work out. And he took advantage of it because Marlon was hurt and stuff like that, so he had to play. And then Mike McDowell did a phenomenal job of making sure not leave him out there on the island.
Hmm.
I think this will work out for us. Like I said, all you gotta do is come in and just hold down his side. That's it. You don't gotta be Reed Bishop, don't gotta be Champ Bailey or Patrick Surtain. Just hold down your side, make some free plays. But
Yeah,
overall, I like it, and we got him for next to nothing.
right.
So I'm gonna start this for this postseason or off season position spotlight. So right now, we're going to continue with cornerbacks. How will EDC reshape the cornerback room like we just talked about? He just signed Cheetah Bear Woozier. So go ahead, Shannon.
I was about to ask you how you pronounce his name, but I think it's what you just said. It starts with signing him. Nate Wiggins is a dud. Like I think we got to see a lot. He's going to learn. I feel like he's going to learn. What he can and can't get away with. I will say I've watched other cornerbacks around the league be just as handsy and don't get the calls that he got.
Yeah.
But I think that he'll learn what he can and can't get away with. It'll be interesting to see how he performs in year two. Like you just mentioned, TJ, I want to see more from him. I think this is the time to get him, more active on that end to add to the depth. And for, like I mentioned before, for whatever reason, it seems like they like Mullen playing at nickel. So I think that's kind of the idea of how they're going into it. Um, but I think it's shaping up well. Just first of all with the free agent signing, then you can go into the draft and you don't have to reach for a cornerback because you kind of, I'm not going to say we're set, but it goes back to what we were talking about earlier this week in the group: best player available, or drafting for need. So it just depends on where we are and who's there. But I think the way it's shaping up right now, they won't have to reach in the draft.
Yeah, you reach. That's how you end up drafting bus every time.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. The whole Marlon playing nickel thing. I've been going back and forth with people about this. It's a luxury for him, and you know this, Shannon. It's a
Mm-hmm.
He was an all pro bowler corner when he was on the outside, way before they moved on the inside. They did that to make things better. So whereas though if we got a team that's moving Jamal Chase in the slot, moving Devontae Smith here, we won't get killed because everybody can't play in the nickel.
Mm-hmm.
Different world. And Champ Bailey said, he said, it's a different world. The nickel, you tackling more, you taking on more blocks because you're closer to the line of scrimmage. You're like an extra linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can't do that. With Amon the physical, he can do both. Like he still is an outside corner first. He's just versatile enough to play inside. Like everybody saying like,
Mm-hmm.
I corner, like what?
Right.
Guys like Mike Hilton and them and like that, they slot corners.
Mm-hmm.
They don't just they're not gonna give an all pro nod for a motherfucker just to play in a slot. Come on, Sam. Look how that sounds.
Mm-hmm.
I say it's a luxury. And but sometimes they get too carried away with it because if Jamal Chase from outside, slide Marlon right on there.
I agree.
Like, and will he get a catch or two? Yes, it's Jamal Chase. He's one of the best receivers in the league. But Marlon not gonna let him go for 400.
Mm-hmm.
So like you said, Nate Wiggins is a beast. I was so happy when he fell to us. I was like, that was Oklahoma City. And
Me too.
I was
I didn't
watching.
even think he was going to be an option.
Yeah, I was talking to the guy who was another Raven fan that was down there on vacation too. He was watching the draft with Dave and Buster's down there. I was like, man, shit, shorty, dog. And
Mm-hmm.
then as we let him play, boom. And if he just, like I say, he just got to work on catching the ball. Not man his hands, like you said, but that'll all come in due time. But shorty, no touchdowns allowed. Amazing, man, amazing. Like I said, he catch a few more than picks. He probably defensive rookie of the year. TJ
Mm-hmm.
Tampa, like I said, we gotta get him out there, see what he do in preseason and training camp. I think he'll be okay. But we gotta slowly like let him get reps. And like I said, Cheetah Awuzie, solid veteran, played in the Super Bowl. That's going to help a lot. And then, like I said, the draft, I think we'll still might draft a corner too. Because Jalen Davis, man, he might not even make the team, honestly.
Mm.
Yeah, last year's contract, it's easy to cut guys like that last year the contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he might not even
I
make the
didn't
team.
realize it was his last year.
And him, David Ajabo, of course, the tight ends, that whole 2022 class,
Mm-hmm.
last year their contract. So, and the only ones that might get brought back is, of course, Kyle and Tyler. That's a must. Of course, likely and Kolar, they'll bring them back. Andrews to be determined. File hey, he's another one that looking good. But for like I said, we'll definitely draft at least two corners. There's two guys I like. I like uh, I like Maxwell Houston out of Kentucky. I like Benjamin Morris from Notre Dame. Will Johnson, if he falls down, get him. Get him. I don't care that we took Nate last year and all that. No, I don't care. We like because we do it at receiver. We drafted Zay. I mean, I'm gonna go back. We drafted Hollywood, drafted Bateman, and still drafted Zay. So let's do the same thing at corner. Don't just because we took Nick last year. No, Will Johnson and one of them guys available, take him. For now, it's a passing league. You can never have too many corners. You had never had too many edge rushers, and you can never have too many good interior D line. So that's how I think he should reshape the room. Just, draft two guys, and then if another guy come available, like if Asante Samuel's still available, grab him too. Let's go ahead.
Mm.
Let's go ahead and
Then we got to deal with his daddy.
Look, I'm cool with singing. He's entitled to his opinion. Basically,
Yeah, he definitely is.
I'm gonna say this because it's still a cornerback topic. He never said he was better than Dion. He never said that. Like, because people coming at him from all he saying was he just disagreed with Dion on this particular technique.
The technique. Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, that's why I kept breaking it down. People, well, most people calm down. So yeah, you're right. He never said
But
that.
I think it's the problem is that when he posts his when he always says his yearly reminder and he's posting their stats next to each other and it's like that's where he loses me per se because it's like what's your point? People didn't even
I
target
I get what you're trying to say.
what because he got picks.
Yeah, you basically
You're getting targeted.
said. I mean, true, of course, we know.
People wasn't messing with Brown.
Yeah,
If they
no,
ain't coming, like like Revis, like people like that, like how many picks he got? You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm just asking, but I'm just like it's certain cornerbacks like people really try to stay away
I'm
from.
a Reeves fan, but this is my whole thing with him. And when I break that, I break everything in the comments. People really understood it. Darrell Reeves had a nice 4-5 run. It was amazing. Then after
Mm-hmm.
that, Reeves
Oh yeah, he definitely fell off. Yeah,
became Reeves giveaway.
yeah,
Yeah, like yeah,
that's
good
true.
for the but when you got guys like Asante Samuel, Dion, Champ Bailey, Charles Wilson, Raw Wilson, that did it for 10+ years
Mm-hmm.
consistently. It's different. It's like I said, Reeves is well deserved Hall of Fame. I'm just saying, those guys 10 a decade plus. That consistency means a lot to me.
How long did um how long did Megatron play? Did he make it to 10 years?
He played 10 on the dot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I know I agree with you. I agree with you about Revis. Yeah, after he left the Jets, he went. Where did he go to? Where did he go?
Tampa
To
Bay,
the Bucks?
man, what Tampa Bay,
Yeah,
New
yeah,
England,
yeah. I agree with you.
and came back with the Jets. Then Kansas City picked him out, and that was it.
Yeah, I like Richard Sherman. I was a Richard Sherman guy at that point.
Yeah,
I like Richard Sherman.
yeah, he's another one for 3 to 4 year window. Then like Pat P, at least was consistent for
Well,
like.
you like? Did you like Jalen Ramsey?
Oh yeah, because he's still playing at a high level. The Dolphins just suck. Yeah.
I wanted Jalen a couple that when he left the Jags. I was
Yeah,
hoping we
it
could
was
have got him.
hard to pay two corners 100 million, but it definitely would have been nice.
That would
That's
have
why
been
we got
nice.
him there because it was cheaper.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but
I know.
that would have been hard to throw the ball at that Jalen Ramsey him on. Oh Lord, ooh.
Yeah.
Whew. All right, we'll
Your
do two.
favorite part?
Yeah, we'll yeah. All right, we're gonna get down to our mock draft. We're gonna do two. So Shannon, you go ahead, go first.
All right. So with my first one, I didn't do any trades, so it's the straight 11 picks. I think we got 11 picks, right?
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even grade well on this one. Two of my picks got a C plus. The rest of them was like A's and B's though.
Okay.
But first pick, I got Maxwell Hurston, cornerback from Kentucky.
Okay.
We just talking about cornerbacks, right?
Yeah.
At 59, I drafted Darius Alexander, defensive lineman from Toledo.
Okay.
At 91, I drafted inside offensive lineman Jared Wilson from Georgia.
Okay.
129, Barrett Carter,
Barrett Carter.
linebacker from Clemson.
Okay.
136, Vernon Broughton, defensive lineman from Texas.
Texas, Vernon Broughton. Yeah.
176, Dante Thornton, wide receiver from Tennessee.
Baltimore kid too. Yep.
183, Jalen Reed, safety from Penn State.
Yeah, that's a thumper right there.
So these two are my C's. 203, I drafted JJ, is it Pegues, defensive lineman from Mississippi.
Ole Miss, yeah.
And 210, I drafted, is it Oronde Gaddison the
Ronda,
second,
you don't remember
tight
his son
end?
play for the Dolphins, the wide receiver?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was his dad though.
that's his son.
Tight end from Syracuse. At 212, I drafted, I think it's pronounced Fidel Diggs,
Yeah,
edge from Syracuse.
yeah.
At Uh, 243, last pick in this one is Elijah Clark, safety from Syracuse.
I like it. They're pretty good. Uh,
All right,
this one.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Shannon. I'm tripping. Go ahead.
Want me to do both of them?
Yeah, go ahead. Why not?
Okay. So in my second draft, I did make a trade. I traded with the Texans and moved up to 25.
Oh, okay.
I drafted I drafted Derek Harmon, defensive line from Oregon.
Good pick.
At 59, I drafted JT. I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about? Edge from
New York.
Ohio State. Yes.
New York. Yeah.
91, Harold, is it Fannin Jr., a tight end from Bowling Green.
Yeah.
At 136, Dylan Fairchild, inside offensive lineman from Georgia.
Georgia. Yeah, the guard. Yeah.
176, Sebastian Castro, safety from Iowa.
He like another Geno Stone.
At 183, Jordan Hancock, cornerback from Ohio State.
Yeah.
At 204, guard Joshua Gray from Oregon State.
Okay, I like him. He's
At 210, I drafted Jay Higgins, linebacker from Iowa.
out there.
And last but not least, 243, Dean Clark, safety from Fresno State.
Yeah, I like him. He's pretty good. All right, it's my first one. I did some trades, but they was in the middle rounds. So at 27, I took Derek Harmon, defensive tackle out of Oregon. Pick 59, Ezra Thomas, cornerback, Florida State. Pick number 98, Torrey Horton, wide receiver, Colorado State. 129, Jackson Slater, guard, Sacramento State. Small school with the kid can pull and everything, dog. 136, Antoine Powell Ryland, edge out of Virginia Tech. 151 edge again, Cayman Rucker, North Carolina. 176 from the U, Simeon Barrow. 183, Teddy Buchanan, linebacker, California. 203, Carson Vincent, tackle at Alabama A&M. Saw him in small school some love. And 210, the Ball Hawks corner from Kansas, Mellow Dots. He had 8 interceptions last year. Ran 4 of them back.
Mm.
212.
We need that.
Yeah, that's why I picked him. 212, Ty Hamilton, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Beef up the interior. And 243, because like I said, one of them 3 tight ends ain't coming back. Caden, pre-scoring, tight end. Ole Miss. So, that was the first one. Uh, Here's the second one right here. 27, took Mike Green, edge out of Marshall. 59, there's no trades on this one. 59, Tyleek Williams, Ohio State. Interior defensive line again, Deion Walker, Kentucky. I doubled down in 2 positions. And 129, corner, Denzel Burke, Ohio State. Corner again, Dorian Strong, Virginia Tech. 176, Joshua Gray, guard, Oregon State. 183, Malachi Moore, safety, Alabama. 203 from the U again, Jalen Rivers. You know I'm a Kane fan, so I always do that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down because I had to separate the 2. Well, I can see it right here. 210, Nick Nash, wide receiver, Sacramento State. 212, linebacker Jack Kaiser, Notre Dame. And at 243, Ja Joyner, edge rusher, Missouri, Minnesota. And that's
Mm.
it. So everyone, that's it for today's show. Go ahead, Shannon. Do your thing.
The last time we recorded, we were giving a shout out to the college teams. The Terp season ended, but I do want to say that I'm proud of both the women and the men's team. The women played South Carolina tough.
Yes,
That
they
was a
did.
great game. I mean, they had some great games. They had some. I said I needed hot meds a couple of times watching those games. Shout out to Derek Queen. You made Baltimore proud. With how you carried yourself in the tournament. Um, that I'm from Baltimore is stuck, and I think everybody in the city loved hearing that, whether you a Terp fan or not. It sucks how things ended with the coach, but got a new coach now, and things are definitely buzzing literally for that team. So shout out to the Terps, good season. Sorry it ended, but no need to hang your head. Orioles, like we talking about them too. They started the season currently right now based on the standings. We're like last in in our division. So we definitely want to clean that up and get some wins going, but it's still early. Opening day was this past Monday, and it looked like a fun time. The weather held off, so nobody got rained out. Um, but just looking for what's to come. You know, the draft is coming soon, so that'll be exciting. That's always an exciting time of the year. And I think the Ravens got some serious decisions to make. This offseason is very important to the future, in my opinion. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how a lot of this stuff plays out.
Same. To piggyback with college, my UConn Huskies, no three-peat this year. Lost to a very good Florida team by two.
Ooh, y'all coach was mad.
Yeah, because he would have been the only coach in UConn that ever did a three-peat. Even Calhoun didn't even do that. So I get it. But we got the number two recruiting class coming in, so we'll be back. We lost a lot of talent out those championship teams. I mean, when you win like that, back-to-back kids can declare and go to the draft. So we was playing with a lot of guys that were on the bench that was on those teams besides Caravan. But we got as far as we could. It was a tough game. The women's are still rolling. They just beat USC. Although Juju ain't played, get well soon. I would have definitely loved to see her and Paige go at it.
That would have been dope.
It looked like it's going to be Gino versus Don. That's going to be that's Goliath versus Goliath. So that's going to be a good one. Awuzie, like I said, they'll be okay. Season just started. You can probably,
Hmm.
but it's 100 games, so be okay. And far as the draft, got 3 weeks away. So, I'm excited to see what's going to happen. Are we going to trade up, trade back, stay put?
Will Mark Andrews be traded on draft day?
It,
Ooh.
I don't get draft day, so I mean, but that's because he wanted out. Andrews don't want out. So I think out of respect, he's going to at least play this season out. Oh, man. So everybody, y'all know what I'm about to say. Make sure y'all trade. Talk Ravens all day, every day. From your host, Justin P., and from my MVP billion dollar co host, Miss Shannon Finch. We'll see y'all next Thursday, same time, same channel. Like I said, we're doing one short week right now until like I said, basically until the preseason starts. Well, boom, man. Honestly, we might just wait till the regular season to be honest with you. Because preseason, we can do all that in one show. So yeah, that week one, that's when
You
it.
must got some vacations planned or something.
I kind of do honestly.
See,
So
I can tell.
you read me like
Cause
football.
you ain't never say that.
Yeah, you read me like yeah, yeah. So
I ain't blame. I got a couple of them planned too, so that's good.
yeah, so like I said, yeah, I love y'all. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the Final Four games and stuff like that. The NBA games, baseball games, even the UFL games. They just started last week for those. I know that's not the NFL, but still some football.
So much, yeah.
The players you will see is we're NFL guys, so you probably gonna recognize a majority of them. So just give it a try, see if you like it. Have a great night, and see y'all next Thursday. We out.
Bye, Justin.
Shannon.